So what do these industries need to compete? A talented and educated workforce, quality business infrastructure with competitive regulation and business costs, a high quality of life to retain talent, a pioneering culture of research in product and process design. These aren't ideals, they're the basics that'll move us forward. We also have to be adamant in supporting regional strategies that drive rural growth in Albany and Arlington, in Medford and Maupin, John Day and Coos Bay, all across the state. Not just in the metro area, but in every corner of the state. If we're leaving communities behind, we haven't succeeded. So how do we get started? First, from all of our conversations with business and community leaders around the state, we've landed on two major tasks. Redesigning the way we budget for and deliver public services in order to support our economy and our communities, despite the looming fiscal crisis. Taking very specific actions to spark job growth and strengthen the business climate. Let me start with the first task. And I'll tell you, some people have asked us this year, why does the business plan, why is it focused on the public sector? They've told us that addressing state fiscal policy moves us beyond our expertise or usefulness. But having kept our businesses running during a punishing 3-year period during the downturn, we have a really good sense of what the governor and legislature are up against. Too much is at stake for us to stay silent on the fiscal front. We've witnessed a decade of underinvestment in education, particularly post-secondary education. Repeat it, and Oregon's economy will have little hope. Governed the old way, debates will center on service cuts and tax increases. What a terrible business proposition. Increase the price and reduce the service. Rely on that approach, and we're on the road to the dysfunction of California. Here in Oregon, the debate has to shift to growing jobs and income and redesigning public services. So what do we mean by redesign? One of our guests later on this morning, David Osborne from the Public Strategies Group, will tell us more about that this morning. He'll talk about redesign, that redesign is transformation. In the public service context, redesigning our education system entails thinking beyond existing agencies and their rigid funding streams. Allowing students to move seamlessly through our schools as they demonstrate skills. It means scrapping the tired concept of seat time. It means leveraging technology to deliver excellent programming to every corner of the state and providing the higher ed system with more autonomy to be more flexible, nimble, and efficient, and holding the system accountable for the results. It means thinking about the problem and the entire situation differently and making sure it's about the kids, not the adults. In public safety, redesign means reserving our expensive prison space for violent offenders and rethinking Measure 11's mandatory minimum sentences. In healthcare, where we're blessed with a governor-elect who knows more on that subject than any chief executive in the country, redesign means adopting an insurance exchange that creates strong incentives for individuals to choose health insurance options that reduce costs and increase the value of services. To pull any of that off, we need a budget process that takes a long view, measures outcomes, and highlights opportunities and challenges well before they're on top of us. And we need a tax system that's more stable and not so dependent on income and capital gains tax. The first step is to build a rainy day fund that's large enough to protect critical services during the downturn. This will require bipartisan action, disciplined spending decisions, and modifications to the state's kicker law. It's time that we stop talking about that and get it done. This afternoon, you'll have an opportunity to share what redesign means to you, and the governor-elect will be here to hear your ideas and to share his. To accomplish redesign and put people to work, we need folks to believe, acknowledge, adopt, and advocate. And what about our other ideas to spark job and income growth across the state? As we toured the state, we asked business leaders how to jumpstart Oregon's recovery. No one produced a magic bullet. Not surprising, because there really isn't one. But those conversations produced those 10 additional incentives to spark job and income growth that I mentioned earlier. They're in your packet. From accelerating energy efficiency efforts to enacting more coherent water withdrawal policy on the Columbia. This is an actionable list outlined in your plan summary that'll put Oregon in a strong position to grow as the national and global conditions improve. We'll explore these details in breakout sessions this afternoon, and in many cases, volunteer members of the governor-elect's transition team will be leading those sessions. In fact, the governor-elect will be on hand himself. Now a note about our plan. We're not reinventing the wheel. A lot of this is not new. Many of your communities, organizations across the state already had put serious thought into policy prescriptions and a game plan for driving jobs and economic activity where you live, which provide invaluable perspective and benefit to our statewide challenge. We've carefully collected your ideas and woven them into a plan that can succeed, that we can succeed at, that we can carry forward, we can recommend to the governor and legislative leadership, that we can each play a role in implementing, that we can measure and correct and recognize what we've accomplished when we get there. We've benefited from collaborating with our business association partners, and I'm going to take the time here to name a few names. Jay Clemens from AOI, Ryan Deckert from OBA, Sandy McDonough from the PBA, Mike Salzgiver from AGC, John Chandler with the Home Builders, Steve McCoy at Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association. I will tell you, there was a time when you couldn't get all those groups in a room, but this year, with these leaders, also including Duncan Wise and the Oregon Business Council staff, we've been meeting every 2 weeks. They share a lot of the accountability for delivering this plan and advocating, and we'll continue to count on them as key partners going forward. In addition to regular meetings with those folks, there are other key organizations, among them industry groups. We've been consulting with leaders of key existing industry clusters, from forest products to software to footwear to outdoor gear. We've met multiple times with the tourism, chamber, and economic development professionals, driving business enhancement and recruitment to their regions. Thank you all for your participation. We look forward to continuing that partnership as well. There also have been, it seems amazing to me, but we've held 17 regional meetings so far this year, bringing people together like you, business, political, and community leaders, to brainstorm possibilities, identify roadblocks, and celebrate successes within regions and communities throughout the entire state. Those of you that organized or attended those sessions, I can't thank you enough. If you participated in one of the regional meetings this year, please stand up so we can thank you for helping to shape this effort. Again, thank you. We need the individual and collective ideas and energies of everybody on board. Oregon has a unique history. Every grade schooler knows the story of the Oregon Trail, how families endured perilous mountain and river crossings, withstood numbing cold and blistering heat, faced scarcity and starvation, or worse. When those families left the relative comfort of St. Louis, they knew there would be enormous challenges, though they may have really had no real idea. But they didn't stay home. They didn't listen to the naysayers who predicted that they would fail, or worse, they gritted their teeth and forged ahead, sometimes clinging only to the vision. These pioneers were the first innovators and entrepreneurs and statesmen of our territory. These people took up the challenge despite the odds. They made Oregon, and they made Oregon a special place. While today, while we still live surrounded by spectacular natural beauty, we need to honestly acknowledge that from an economic livability perspective, and it's, I will tell you, painful to say this, Oregon isn't actually so special a place anymore. It's in decline. It's below average and sinking still. Don't believe me? How sadly ironic that a few miles south of here in Oregon City, due to lack of support, the end of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center quite literally has shut its doors. It's time to get back on the trail. It's time to stop just saying Oregon is a special place. By using smarts, hard work, together, and following a plan, it's time to make Oregon special again. Here's what you can do. Be actively engaged. Track the plan and the progress routinely on the website. Be informed and advocate to your business and community organizations, chambers of commerce. Advocate with your employees, suppliers, and customers. Talk to your local elected leadership councils and commissions. Talk with your legislators a lot. Tell them you want to be engaged during the political phase of getting this work done and that you'll support them when making bold, tough-minded decisions. They'll deserve your support for making the hard choices to get this done. And support the governor in his commitment to the plan and moving it forward. Urge others to do so as well. The Oregon Business Plan is our roadmap for a brighter future in Oregon, a future of jobs, high-wage, well-paying jobs, and public and government support that makes sense. These are the keys to a strong and vibrant economy in Oregon, and we'll get there by not being business as usual. This isn't about they or them. This is about us. We're here now. The problem is ours. We're responsible, and we'll be held accountable. These are serious problems that call for serious actions. We need to fix this on our watch. Let's get this done together. Thank you. Now it's my honor to introduce to you Lenny Mendoza, who is Director of Knowledge Development at McKinsey & Company. He's on the board, the McKinsey board, and over the years he's written and spoken extensively on globalization, corporate and social responsibility, economic development, regulation, education, energy policy and healthcare, financial services, and corporate strategy. That's a lot. Among multiple board and charitable involvements, particularly in the areas of economics and education, Lenny is a trustee for the Committee for Economic Development and is a member of the Advisory Council for the Stanford Graduate School of Business. All very impressive. I think you'll agree, but probably what will impress you most as Oregonians and as entrepreneurs is that Lenny is also a small business owner and the founder and owner of the Half Moon Bay Brewing Company. Some of their famous brews include Bootlegger's Brown and Sandy Beach Blonde. Thanks, Lenny, for taking a break from the Brewer's Vat to talk with us today. We're privileged to hear your insights as a thinker and as a doer. I give you Lenny.